Welcome to Bro Science Autopsy, the podcast where we cut through the hype and the BS, dissect the myths, and separate scientific fact from internet fiction. Every week we take the biggest claims in fitness, nutrition, supplements, hormones, peptides, longevity, and human performance and put them to the test. No influencer hype, no hidden agenda. So whether you're a bodybuilder, athlete, healthcare professional, or someone who simply wants to optimize your health without falling for the latest trend, you're in the right place. All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Josh.
Mike Hammer.
So we talk a lot about fitness, health, trends. We've touched on peptides, GLPs, and bodybuilding, but a perfect segue is this viral trend of Looksmaxxing. And I don't know much about it. I only see what pops up on the internet, but we're going to go through it and kind of discover it together today, because I think some of it's pretty wild from what I'm seeing. It's pretty fucking weird, man.
Well, I'm sure everybody's seen, Greg Valentino back in the day with his, 26-inch arms or whatever he had. And that was supposedly just all gear that he was putting in there. Why would he lie about it? I don't know. I'm sure he just, that's probably what he did. But it was a lot. And if you look around on the internet, you can see some of the things that he went through, like trying to drain infection and stuff like that. I know there's some guys down in Brazil. I don't think they're alive anymore, actually, but there's no muscle. It's just all oil. The whole thing, the traps, the chest, everything's all just full of oil. Then you got influencers or fitness competitors that are getting butt implants and getting infected, and a couple of them have died. And calf implants and cheek implants and lip, collagen in your lips. Just it goes on and on and on.
Well, it's like you said, is that a couple centuries from now, someone digs up or finds a skeleton of someone from this generation, and it's there's no bone.
Silicone sacks by their boobs and butt implants.
It's just a bunch of plastic balls and weird shapes, and yeah, I mean, it's like, what the fuck were they doing back then?
No wonder they're all gone.
And you pointed out, like, there's this. You're talking explicitly about the Synthol craze, and I think everyone should Google Greg Valentino, because I think he, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the first one that kind of, before viral was a thing, went viral for what he was doing, because it looked so abnormal than what people were used to seeing on, like, the cover of magazines of muscle and fitness and whatever. He was the one that kind of just first broke the internet in its early days.
What's interesting is he was videotaping this on a VHS, I think it was a VHS camcorder, while he was trying to drain his arm. And he dropped the needle on the floor and like just cleaned it with alcohol and stuck it. I was like, he's documenting all this stuff. And this is before anything was accepted at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was the OG, for lack of a better term, for all this shit.
And with all that being said, he looks pretty good right now. I think he's like 62 years old and ripped. Still a big dude too.
I'd have to look him up. I haven't seen him since those early pictures. But yeah, you point out the guys in Brazil. I know that's big in Brazil, and I know it's big in Russia too, with the oil injections. And it goes back to like what we keep talking about. It's a quick fix to like look big, because the general person walking down the street that sees this person with these 26-inch biceps and these huge deltoids and these traps that look like they're basketballs, they're going to be like, holy shit, that guy works out a lot.
I've had people ask me, you think that guy's on steroids? You think, does he pass the eyeball test? There's not that many freaks in the world, so if something weird's going on, something weird's going on. You know what I mean?
You can look around at the grocery store and see them.
Even at the gym.
There's a couple freaks walking around, and that's it. But there's something there. There's something going on.
We don't know if they are or not. but you can make assumptions. It's like, well, that's probably not normal. There are some anomalies in the world, but
Yeah, but that's like, again, it's a fraction of a percent, and that's like a couple other guys that kind of broke the internet was Valentino, Rich Piana. 100% was using oil in his arms. Look at that guy do any arm workout. There's no vascularity. You can't see muscle striations. There's little movement. And then there's, people that kind of broke the internet was Boston Lloyd, who passed away, his transformation, and people were like, holy shit, look what happened in a year. He broke the internet too, and his was just, in all likelihood, excessive amounts of gear and training hard and good genetics at that point too. But there's people that come along, and the latest is probably Sam Sulek, who is proving himself beyond just the initial transformation. He's proven himself to be a good athlete and offers good advice and everything too. But he's the most recent that I can think of that's kind of broke the internet with a physiological transformation.
Well, look at Anatoly, world class, probably top 300 in his weight class in the whole world, and he's running around making videos as a gym cleaner. It's pretty funny.
That was kind of an element of Looksmaxxing before Looksmaxxing was a thing, and what we're going to dive into here and kind of discover is really what it's turned into now with social media and access to good and bad information.
So there's a newer program out, and it's kind of off the topic, but on the topic, and these guys are storm chasers, and they're trying, they're like 100 yards away from these tornadoes sometimes, because whoever gets the best shot for their thumbnail usually gets the most views and makes the most money. So it's kind of crazy. This is the same. It's kind of the same thing. I guess the more wild you are, the more attention you're gonna get. So why stop at 25-inch arms when you can have 30-inch arms?
It's the most extreme, right? And we're addicted to it as people too. Who's running fast? That's why these records are always being broken too. So we're gonna go to Google and simply type in Looksmaxxing. You can see the auto population here. Looksmaxxing is an online subculture and self-improvement trend focused on maximizing physical attractiveness. Originating on the internet around the 2010s, it's expanded wildly through TikTok. The practice ranges from basic grooming and health lifestyle to extreme, unproven, and potentially dangerous physical alterations. And, back in grade school, there were always a couple dudes in the class that were hyper aware of their looks and very well groomed. It wasn't me. Like, they did their hair really well and they were doing all these things, not necessarily working out, but those few people that were doing that stood out as like, what's that guy doing? It wasn't the norm back then. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my experience.
Since the beginning of time. I think actually.
Sure, some element of this was around, but social media has turned it into something even more extreme than it ever has been before.
Well, you got to stay on top. You got to be the number one thing that pops up on Google or Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, Reels or Shorts, whatever. It's so bad that Shorts used to be less than a minute. Now they're not that anymore, but people can't even watch more than 3 to 15 seconds of a short reel, and they're on to the next.
Yeah, the attention span of this group that I'm kind of highlighting is teenagers to early 20s is concerning. An inability to just sit down and watch an entire movie. It's like overstimulation constantly. And like it's a huge problem. And that's why this is the first generation, I just read an article, Gen Z, that is less intelligent than the previous generation of millennials. They are proven to have a lower IQ than the previous generation for the first time.
I would attribute that a lot to the internet, probably specifically YouTube, because you don't just take things apart anymore and learn how to put them back together. You go on YouTube and you watch somebody do it, and then he fixes it or she, and then you go do it. Did you really learn anything, or are you just repeating their process?
You're just following how to build a Lego instructions that someone printed for you.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree too. It's just interesting that intelligence is dropping, and it goes right along with the lack of attention span too. But I want to look at a few bullet points here of some of the trends that I've found before we got here today. And the first one I want to talk about is bone smashing.
Yeah, it's new to me.
Here's a .edu webpage, University of Colorado. Why teens are asking AI to rate their faces. Bone smashing. Right here. A dangerous practice promoted in some online Looksmaxxing communities that involves repeatedly striking facial bones in the belief that it will reshape the face or create a more defined jawline. There's no scientific evidence that it works, and it can cause serious injury. I know this isn't a crock of shit because it came up naturally on the internet with influencers talking about what they're doing is they're micro fracturing their jawline because bones grow bigger when they heal to create a more defined jawline. And this isn't 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds or really anyone of age. These are fucking teenagers talking about this shit. And this is not a gimmick. This is a real thing.
So I just asked AI. Bone smashing is a rare practice, though it has gained viral attention on extreme online trend among teenage boys and young men with Looksmaxxing internet subcultures. It's like microneedling, right? A lot of people do that to regrow hair.
Not teenagers.
Not teenagers, because they got hair, so they got to do something else.
It's the thing is they're vulnerable to this stuff, and we'll keep going through some of this list that I made. They're getting their information amongst their peers and social media, so they see a transformation from some fat, pudgy teenager to like one that looks like he's 25, but he's actually 16 with a sharper jawline and whatever. Clearly doesn't have a beard yet because they can't fucking grow one. But they're like, oh, I got to look like that. And then their friends start, it's just peer pressure at that point to keep up. And I do see this trend, this addiction and this fascination with facial structure all the time, especially in this group of young adolescent or young adult men.
So is this the teenage boys / men's version of women's makeup? Good makeup artists can really change the looks of somebody.
It is and it isn't. It is in the sense that you're changing your appearance, but it's different in its extreme nature, and that you can't undo that damage.
I remember like 25 years ago, ab etching was the big craze. They would liposuction out in between where your abs actually are, so that little layer of fat, if you have any, is going to build up on the abs and make them look thicker. I don't know how many people did it, but I know it was talked about quite often.
There's always a new ad for abs. The fucking fat freezing centers, which, you know what? You want abs? Just diet for a little bit of time. That's how you do it. But when you drink beer all weekend long and eat pizza, it's not going to do anything. Just diet for 6 months and you'll find your abs. They're there somewhere.
Well, and that's the thing too, is you got to do abs to have abs. A lot of people skip that part. You can actually be pretty fluffy and see your abs if you got a good core.
Yeah, I mean, it takes some time to do that, Okay, so the other one I saw was teenagers and young adults lean maxing and trying to force the fat pad reduction in their face by having it removed. So here's the deal. A teenager that I know very well asked me about getting rid of fat pads on his face because he's in this sort of trend. And I said, dude, once you lose that fat on your face, it's never coming back. People pay good money when they're middle-aged to have fat put back in their fucking faces.
Hyaluronic acid.
Yeah, yes, they're trying to recreate what you have right now. So it got me thinking too, what are these teenage, mostly boys, young adults, going to look like by the time they're middle-aged if they're doing this kind of stuff? Removing fat pads, how awful are they going to look then?
I don't know. I mean, even walking around super lean, is it really good for collagen synthesis? And that's what one reason you start aging, your collagen starts breaking down, and you don't have as much as when you're youth.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to race. They're trying to do the opposite, like I said, of the plastic surgery industry. They're trying to accelerate to being 35 years old. But they're teenagers. They're supposed to look puffy. They're supposed to look fat. They're supposed to be insecure. But now there's this whole internet culture. Oh, you don't have to be insecure if you do this, this, and this. If you do bone smashing, if you hyper obsess with your jawline, and it's I'll get back to that. It's all about jawline. That seems to be the obsession. Because the bone smashing is an extreme version, but you know what else they're doing? Obsessively chewing hard gum too to grow those jaw muscles.
You know what works really good to do that? Tren.
Trend does do that. Trend. It'll get you pissed off enough to do something, that's for sure.
Probably bite somebody, yeah.
That's right. I mean, you get hit in the jaw enough times, it'll make it grow too as you get into a fight. And and I had a conversation, and it's like, oh, I just need to get on some HGH so I can grow a little bit taller and, do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, you're just a kid. You don't even have a fucking job. But here's the thing: is they're getting this information from the fucking internet.
For Christmas, 2 kids at DH.
Did you know what that was when you were 15 years old?
No.
I had no clue. I'd be like, what? No, I'm good, but I'll take a fucking Culver's gift card. I'll do that.
Xbox card or something, yeah. Nowadays.
Again, I'm talking about men or young men here. It's this obsession with jawline and fat pad placement and distribution on your face that seems to be the obsession. And as a bodybuilder, I know it's somewhat hypocritical, but you know what? I'm a semi-functioning adult man. I can make and understand the consequences of what I'm doing because I put in the time and research, because I have the attention span to fucking do that. I don't just flip through the internet like, oh, this kid said this. And the last post we put up on our podcast TikTok was about taking advice from influencers on these pretty serious trends that can definitely cause you some damage.
Yeah, like even Boston Lloyd, his kidney shut down probably from peptide that he was taking. And he's probably taking way too much of it. There's really back to the no research on the peptides things. Why was he doing it? To get more ripped. Looksmaxxing, once again. Even though he was married with a kid, had a kid, and a whole life ahead of him.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop.
Yeah, and again, he was very smart. If you listen to his YouTube channel, if it's still up, like he knew what he was doing. He just didn't give a shit. That was the thing. He knew exactly what he was doing. These kids don't. They don't know what they're doing. They're getting it, and I've said this for years in academics as well. There's always an audience for every bad idea. And globalization and rate of communication, as that's accelerated over the last century, has rapid fire increased that process for bad idea distribution. There's an audience for everything now. And this over obsession with, I make fun of it, I call it, you're maxed out today. They did their hair and they're doing half the shit that fucking girls did when I was a teenager. They're curling their eyelashes, they're putting makeup on, they're putting products in their hair, they're obsessing with their jawlines, they're using social media and AI to question if they have a maxed look for the fucking day. And you know what they're not doing? Many of them, the hard part, which is going to the gym. So all these kids on TikTok showing their maxed out facial transformation, take your fucking shirt off. Let's see what you're working with. You doing the hard work? You just maxing out your face? What about the rest of you? What about your organ health? What about everything below the chin? Or chins, in my case.
I think we all have that problem at one time or another. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to comment on this whole thing.
But again, this list of things that we've just scratched the surface on, these are quick fixes. It's all about speed and rate of gratification.
Instant gratification is what I was going to say. Everybody wants to order off of Amazon, so it's here this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
And at what cost? What cost does this come with for this sample of Gen Z in 10 or 20 years? And I know this is somewhat hypocritical as someone's openly talked about anabolics, but this is different because it has to do with brains that aren't fully developed yet, making these extreme choices because their friends are doing it or because they saw whoever the fuck that doesn't matter and that doesn't know shit on TikTok talking about it.
Yeah, just because they did it and got away with it doesn't mean you're going to, or it was a good idea even. How's that going to turn out in 20 years?
That's exactly right. You know, you turn 18, you go to a plastic surgeon. Oh, I want to get the fat pads removed from my face. 100% guarantee 20 more years pass by. You're going to be like, oh, fuck, I got to put those back in now because I'm looking older.
You know what else does that? Trend.
But that's a perfect, I keep laughing, but like, that's a good point is these younger men are talking. That's why trends becoming popular again because they're the ones fucking talking about it. Because it's a strong bullet to load into your gun, and you know what, Mike, they're right.
It works.
They're right. It's a really strong bullet to put in your arsenal, but they just don't care for the consequences. I just don't think they care. That's the truth. I think that it's about the instant gratification, as you pointed out. Oh, maybe I'll deal with the consequences later, but I don't know what they are because I don't have the attention span to look up what that actually does. But I see the benefits because that 17-year-old kid posted this 1 year transformation and says he was using this, this, and this. He says he was using this, this, and this, but what was he actually doing?
Yeah, but comment in the comment section. How many people, when you're 17 years old and you're trying to modify your body, be a bodybuilder, whatever you're trying to do, you even think you're going to live till 40? Here, let's do it. That's the mentality. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you're 50 years old. Holy shit, I'm still here.
And I look like I'm 80.
Well, you need to move like you're 80 because everything's all wrecked and tore and busted and filled up with gel.
Or the next thing that's going to come out in a few years. I mean, that's a good question. Is like what trends back on the market now? It died off. It's back because of this same generation we're talking about now. Same ones. I get asked about it all the time. Hey, you taking trend? Like, fuck no, I'm not taking it. Have I? Oh yeah, more than I should have. I took it. But it's the reason why it's catching on again because it's one of the most powerful. It's right to the top.
Good for you. Nope.
There's all this baseline stuff that none of these kids should be taking anyways, like testosterone. But that's not extreme enough. That's gonna have, it's not gonna do this quick enough. I want the quick fix. And then there's people online, they're talking about, oh, I cycled a gram of tren a week. No test, just a gram of tren. There's people doing that and they show these transformations and they may be doing that, they may not. But that is dangerous advice to people in this age group.
Yeah, anything under 25, just maybe reassess it then. After 25, then okay, what? This just isn't working very good. I've been at it for 10 years now, and my arms are only 17 inches. What are we gonna do?
But that's the point, though. Is like you've been at it for 10 years.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at is give it some time. We're trying to work through this a little bit.
You've built a foundation. You've learned how to do things in the gym. But going back to your point about the 25-year-old, the people that are 25 and have been grinding in the gym, working legitimately hard. You're not doing everything right because I promise you're not yet. But you're there and you're busting your ass. And then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can incorporate this at this point in time. I don't have any problem with that because you've built that foundation both mentally and physiologically to understand and be able to read the changes that your body makes when you put something else into it.
And I just threw 25 out as an arbitrary number.
Sure.
I mean, maybe 30, 35, whatever your number is. The later you would start any kind of PEDs, the better.
For so many reasons that we talked about in our last episode. But you know who hasn't built a foundation? 14 to 20-year-olds.
You can't build a house without a good foundation.
No, but maybe that's a good thought, is maybe their foundation is TikTok, Instagram. Maybe that's how they think they're building their foundation.
Life is longer than a minute long, though.
Is it, though, for them?
Well, then there's other problems if it is.
I mean, it's just perspective, right? Like, that's generational, is this attention span. I mean, how many of these kids can read a book?
Read it and comprehend it and retain it. The retention part is probably the hardest.
Yeah, because you're just digesting, or you're not even digesting, you're just getting pummeled with information from your cell phone all the time. And yeah, like the retention numbers are down. Again, I'll post a link to that article I keep referring to about how this generation, they are scientifically stupider than millennials. First generation ever. So well done, Gen Z. You guys are crushing it. Keep maxing out. Keep bone smashing. Keep doing all the shit, because you guys are crushing it with your IQ.
Winning. Not even Trend will help that.
Trend will not help your IQ. It will not. It might actually make it worse. But I had this thought too, is put yourself back in high school. And like, we were all insecure in high school. We all were insecure to some degree. We had some insecurities because you're supposed to. You're supposed to have those. That being said, how many times a day would you go to the bathroom to like check yourself out and do whatever in the mirror? I'm not saying just go into the bathroom, take a piss, and there's a mirror there. I'm saying going into the bathroom explicitly to use the mirror.
Yeah, there was probably a time, a year or two, you'd always be on guard all the time. And it didn't make a shit bit of difference to anybody in the whole world except for you.
Yeah, there's a small window of time. I don't remember a period where I had to actively, obsessively go to the mirror all the time, where it was like compulsory. You know, I'd go into the bathroom and wash my hands, take a leak or whatever, you know, fix I had really long hair back then. I'd fix my hair and then I'd fuck off to class. That was about it. I was insecure, but I don't remember having this compulsion.
Well, the problem is now, so that you went looked in the mirror, fixed your hair, whatever. Now these people are posting to TikTok and Instagram and wherever else they go, and now they're getting feedback on how they look all the time. You're not the only one looking at it. Matter of fact, you might not even look at it. You just shoot the video, post it, and you had, some seagull shit in your hair or something. I don't know.
That's a good point. You're getting the feedback that other people back in the day might have thought,
but they wouldn't tell you to your
but
face.
couldn't comment behind the walls of a cell phone.
Yeah.
So you're getting hit with good and bad comments.
Internet warriors, keyboard warriors.
But again, it comes back to, I guess maybe this the denominator of this whole conversation is instant gratification. You're like, oh, I'll post this Snapchat selfie of my face. Oh man, I hope I get good comments or da da da. But then you're just obsessing with it. Maybe this is why this generation is so fucking stupid, because they're doing that during class when they're supposed to be learning about, algebraic equations
Or
Pythagorean theorem.
double in their car's gas mileage somehow. Like, there's not a kid in the garage trying to do that because he's too busy trying to manipulate the algorithm of Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or X or whatever. All of
Yeah, it's true. That's a lot. That's a shift in culture. I think that's a big talking point.
That's how this podcast started. Is instant gratification. That's the whole basis of all of this, because bodybuilding, it's hard. It's hard to build muscle. It really is. Some people will want to argue that point, but you don't see any 500-pound guys with 30-inch arms, do you? No, there's an ultimate limit, no matter what you do or take. Look at Andrei Shmarov from Russia, supposedly taking 100 IUs of growth a day. He's 27 years old. He looks like he's 50, but he's humongous.
I've seen pictures of him. He is a freak. Yeah, you hear that, everybody? 100 IU's, all you teenagers, 100 IU's of growth hormone and tren. That's going to max you out. But this, I mean, this is where the peptide conversation loops back in too, which is why it's blowing up. So they've been around for a while, but they're blowing up now because this hyper obsession of this part of me or this part of me, I can take this small sample of amino acids. No, it's going to make my hair thicker. It's going to curl better. My collagen's going to be better. Like, it's just, I think it's all looped into this Looksmaxxing, which is also looped into instant gratification.
It's not new.
No, it's nothing new. I agree. But it's the scale and the magnitude that's new.
It used to be when you wanted to buy a car, you had to save up the money to buy a car. And then the banks got involved and there's auto loans. So you could have that nice shiny Cadillac right now for a couple $100 a month or whatever the case may be. Is that when it all started? After World War II?
Well, I think this comes down to, and I teach about this at the university, this exact concept. Not Looksmaxxing and not trend, but is the concept, it's called globalization. And globalization is an accelerating and growing interconnectedness amongst global populations. And there are periods in time where that accelerates or takes a big step forward, you know, Industrial Revolution, post-World War II, the internet. And now we're here today, and we're more connected than ever. I can send a message or an order to Beijing in 2 seconds. How fast would have that been 50 years ago?
200 years ago.
Sure. It's this acceleration of globalization.
Well, it all started with the telegraph, you know, and then railroad. Then they built the highways infrastructure. Then more telecom investments, which led into internet. And now you got AI data centers everywhere. Grok, you know, you name the name, ChatGPT. They're gonna go out of business because there's not a good business model there. Where are these billions and trillions of dollars coming from? To in 5 or 6 years, when all of this equipment needs to be replaced again, that in 5 years that's when we're going to see the big curve, big turn. Well, and back in the day, you could have numerous kings because everything wasn't connected. So now we have these wars now. Everything's so connected and you know everything instantaneously, that a ship got blown up in this strait, or oil prices over here are down because there's too much of it, or you know what I mean. Just everything's so fast now. Can we make the right decisions that fast?
Historically, no, we're pretty bad at that. Maybe the AI will be better than us.
Speaking of that, I saw a clip. It was Sarah Connor, Terminator 1, getting arrested, and she's doing pull-ups in the jail. And you know what she's arrested for?
What?
Protesting data centers.
Well, look at where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the precipice of something significant. And I don't know if that's significantly good or significantly bad. But humans are like a virus. They move to one location, they deplete it of its resources, and they move to another. And humans, they've destroyed everything. I think, kind of circling back to AI, is that it's giving advice to these kids on their look. And what credential does AI have to offer that feedback to, let's say, the 15-year-old or 16-year-old or 17-year-old that sends it a picture and asks, I don't know what they ask, am I Looksmaxxing properly? I don't know what the question is.
Bodybuilders are using AI to judge them according, you know, like the last year or last few years, we're preparing for a show, same day, same week, same week. Am I further ahead or further behind? And it'll tell you your weaknesses. I don't know how it can do that. Bodybuilding's so subjective.
Got this big question that I wrote down is what is this generation going to look, and we mentioned this already, what are they going to look like when they're 40?
Well, how many more modifications are they going to do between that 20 and 40? How many bottles of Tren are they going to take?
And are they going to start working out? Some of them, yes. Some of them do. Yeah, sure. But you know what? Most of them don't. Go on TikTok and type in Looksmaxxing, and you see these kids or these young adults. They're not working out. They're showing their facial jaw structure and whatever. You know, like I've been down, and I've been down to like around maybe 4% body fat at one point in time. Maybe. I don't know. Pretty low for the average Joe walking around. And you know what? I still had a second chin right here. Because that's just my body. And so these kids, they're just obsessing about this and fighting their own physiology. And I know bodybuilders do that too, but they're just so young. Don't be so fucking stupid as a teenager. Especially with this shit like excessive chewing, growing your jaw muscles and bone smashing and talking about peptides and growth hormone when you're still in fucking puberty.
Yeah, I was just reading an article that the average U.S. male doesn't even fully develop until 26 years old in a lot of cases. At
Especially
least the brain.
especially cognitively.
Mm-hmm.
100%. So teenagers to very, very young adults. Like you said, you're not cognitively developed enough to make these extreme choices pre-18 and to be obsessed about and to think that it actually matters. But this thinking that this extreme obsession matters, maybe this is just the new version in 2026 and it's just more extreme now because they don't care that it doesn't matter. I don't remember caring that it didn't matter then, but my didn't matter was like, oh, is this piece of hair on my head in the right spot? You know, do I have something on my face? I'm not sitting there with a fucking chisel
Right.
in the stall. Smashing my face. It's crazy. It's a compulsion too. And I think that's because of a phone and because of the internet and because of social media. It is creating a generation of lower intelligence young adults that don't want to have to work for anything.
Yeah. I want it all, and I want it right now.
I'm not going to go to college, which I know you don't have to do, but I'm not going to go to college or work in a career. I'm going to make all my money making TikToks or playing.
You know how much I hear that lately?
All the time. And I know we're posting shit on TikTok, but we're just here to make fun of it all.
Yeah,
You and I both have careers. We're not here to change the game. We're just here to make fun of all you guys. That's it. And ourselves. But
well, it started with ourselves, in my case anyways.
yeah, me too. So what I was saying is like it's creating this generation that doesn't want to work, doesn't want to go to college, doesn't want to put in the time and work at the gym. Not all, but most. Because I see them on the internet. I see you guys. You're not working out. And
That's what I was going to ask you before is what percentage of lifters nowadays has actually pushed themselves to puke? I'm sure a lot of CrossFitters probably have.
yeah, CrossFitters, as much as I love to make fun of them, it's pretty intense, and I couldn't do a CrossFit workout.
No.
I'm honest, I couldn't do it. So the percent that have pushed themselves to puke, to answer your question, is I don't think very many in that generation because it's hard. They're barely doing any of it. Going to the gym, oh, maybe I'll go lift arms so I can post a TikTok showing my bicep. Well, take your shirt off. All you guys that are Looksmaxxing, talking about your perfect facial geometrical structure, take your shirt off in the comments. Show us what you got. Post a picture. I'm sure there's some of you, but the majority, no. You're showing your face. You probably still can't even grow a beard yet. You're just too young and scientifically stupid.
Yep. I have no idea on the mechanisms
or on the risks or on the consequences.
I know one time we were in Vegas and this little Asian girl came walking in and she had the biggest basketball size boobs. It was not attractive. What are you doing? Why? It was a freak show.
And what are you doing in the gym? You didn't look at her and say, "Oh, that was a lot of work."
I didn't even know what was going on. Like, What is that?
And that's the thing too, is like I don't know why these kids aren't obsessed, or more of them, with below the chin. But what happened to just like being obsessed with like what workout you're gonna do, or what's your leg day gonna look like? It's not the conversation. Look up hashtags on social media when you have a chance. Like if you type in leg day versus, I don't know, jawline, which one's gonna have more which one's gonna have more views and more hashtags?
For teens, it says for teenagers, especially boys, Looksmaxxing content is more viral and grabs more attention than general gym advice. It taps into deep insecurities about attractiveness, dating, and social status, which are huge during those years. Looksmaxxing, with terms like mewing, mogging, and ascending, has exploded into the mainstream feeds. Influencers like Clavicular get millions of views per video, and searches for Looksmaxxing hacks peaked at nearly 2 million a day. It's often a gateway that pulls teens from basic gym or skincare tips into more extreme territory, like using Tren.
Yeah, I don't know who Clavic whoever the fuck is, but
Clavicular.
I'd be willing to bet.
Clavicular.
You know what? I don't even have to look it up. You guys can comment in the section in the. You can put a comment. He's never puked at the gym before. Guaranteed, 100%. Whoever this person is, who talks.
He's never had his Fruity Pebbles come out in the bushes and still be the same color as it.
Yeah, he's never had his pre-workout come right back out.
Or you're drinking it so fast it comes out your nose as powder still.
So all in all, it's Looksmaxxing falls into instant gratification, which is, I realize it's a generational problem beyond just.
You know why you were dry scooping? For instant gratification and Looksmaxxing. So you're guilty.
I didn't fucking dry scoop. Fuck that shit.
I have.
I saw people doing it. I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Truth be told, but it's just this idea of instant gratification. We keep coming back to it every single fucking episode. And this is just the latest version of that, is this hyper fixation and quick fix on your appearance by these teenage boys because they see it from some asshole on TikTok that had some transformation and gives just insane advice to just make yourself look older when you're not supposed to at that age. You're supposed to be puffy and you're supposed to look like an idiot because you are. So my advice is relax and enjoy being young.
You got plenty of time.
You're going to look like an absolute freak of nature, not in a good way, by the time you're middle-aged if you try to accelerate your aging as a teenager.
Yeah. You're hitting your jaw with a hammer to make your jawline more pronounced. Why don't you just go get some face tattoos while you're at it?
Because you can't. You're not old enough.
Well, have your buddy do it then. You can buy all the junk on Amazon.
Yeah, you can't do a lot of this stuff. But, here's the thing is, like, imagine there was no age limit to buy anabolics or HGH or peptides. I guarantee this would be in the conversation then for these kids. And I know a lot of them are taking this shit, allegedly, because they're telling all the other people on TikTok and Instagram that they are, and that's why they look so good. And here's the thing is, I've seen some of these people, these influencers, they look like absolute assholes. They got lips, they got faces that look female, they're smooth skin, they got perfectly manicured hair. This would have been someone that would have got their ass beat in high school when I was in school. And now it's like the norm. You're supposed to look like that. I don't know.
Is there a new set of dynamics or pressures today? It sounds like dating, that's not anything like we ever experienced.
But you can't talk face to face anymore.
Right.
You can't hold a conversation. How is this generation going to sit across the table from someone at dinner with the attention span of a mosquito and being able to have a constructive conversation? Or are they just going to sit there on their phones?
I don't even know what to say about any of this.
It's just so stupid. Yeah. It's a generation of impatient, obsessive compulsive, internet addicted, uneducated, whether formally or informally, people But I have faith for you guys too.
Let's hear it.
Because trends come and go. And at some point, this demographic is going to age and they're going to be like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? And I know there's always going to be the next thing, but this what we're talking about, this stuff's pretty extreme. And coming from us, who, trust me, fully understand some of the extremes out there, this stuff's pretty wild.
Yeah. There's a lot that shocks me.
There's some sort of mental disorder. I know it's insecurity, but I think this is insecurity to the nth degree now. I really do.
Well, circle that back to bodybuilding. It's probably why a lot of people started to begin with. They have some illusion or delusion about their body, and they are trying to fix it.
100%. But you know what's hard? What takes time? Bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That's shit, different class. But yeah, it's insecure, 100%. But bodybuilding takes time, takes effort.
Look at plastic surgery, tummy tucks, hair implants is the big thing, you know? I don't know what's going to happen.
But that's adults. Same thing, instant gratification, but that's middle-aged people trying to go back to looking like these kids we're talking about.
Yep. And the kids are trying to look like the middle-aged people.
So again, what are they going to look like by the time they're middle-aged? If they live that long.